upholstery skills in 1893 at the Columbian Exposition, which was the World's Fair. Like any business, we've had our ups and downs, but for the last 30 years, aside from the COVID years, we've been growing. We moved to this facility 26 years ago, leaving Chicago's north side as it gentrified with the help of Alderman Schulter, helping us find a new home here. At the time, Chicago was an ideal place to do business. Taxes were reasonable, infrastructure was strong, and there was abundant, skilled workforce. Many of those advantages have faded, making it harder for manufacturers to stay and compete. But we remain committed to the city and state because of the potential of its workforce and the support of community organizations like Austin Coming Together and industry advocates like the Illinois Manufacturers Association with Mark here. We partnered with Jane Addams Resource Corp to create a West Side training facility, which we didn't get to see on the tour, but we have a facility right here that has CNC and welding programs to ensure a strong pipeline of skilled workers for Friedman Seating and the community at large. That's also why we've invested heavily, not just in our people, but in this facility, which has a rich history as Motorola's first manufacturing plant built around 1937. Programs like EDGE don't give business a handout. They help level the playing field. They allow companies like ours to invest, to grow, and compete while creating more opportunities where they are needed most. Without tangible support, businesses will leave. When this happens, communities suffer. We continue to invest in our facilities and our people because we believe in the West Side, we believe in Chicago, and we believe in Illinois. Today's announcement is important not just for Friedman Seating, but for manufacturing across the state. I want to conclude by thanking Governor Pritzker and his team and Director Richards of DCEO for their commitment to supporting businesses like Friedman Seating. I would also like to acknowledge, and I'm not sure if he's here, Kyle Schultz from World Business Chicago, who actually introduced us to DCEO, and the amazing Cecilla Smith, who guided us through this entire process. Without them, we wouldn't be here for this announcement. Additionally, I want to thank Alderman Mitz, who stood steadfastly by us for the last 26 years, along with Representative Williams. I'm not sure if he's here, but Senator Collins. And of course, Mark Denzler of the Illinois Manufacturers Association, whose tireless advocacy for manufacturing makes a real difference. It's a pleasure to welcome you all, not just to celebrate our company's expansion, but to highlight the importance of our partnerships that help businesses grow and remain competitive in Illinois. And now it's my great honor to introduce a leader who understands the importance of keeping and growing business in the state, Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Thank you very much, Craig, and I very much appreciate the kind introduction. Also, the recognition that there have been a lot of challenges faced by manufacturers across the United States and in the state of Illinois, across the Midwest, for so many years, as manufacturing jobs and companies have often moved out of the United States because they find that it's cheaper, because they can go to places like well, abroad and overseas, and so when a company is working against that tide and is really committed, we want to stand up for them. And this company has been here for more than 100 years, and it is, I love seeing three brothers, the family, working together to make this a successful business, to support the employees that make this successful. I met a gentleman who's, let's see, I don't think I can see him right now, but he's been with the company for 42 years. And just, you know, the idea that a company is attractive enough for somebody to stay and commit themselves for that long a period of time is testament to the kind of atmosphere that got created here, and the fact that Chicago is a great place and Illinois is a great place to raise your family. And this family that owns this company is committed to that for themselves as well as their employees. It really is my sincere pleasure to be here at Friedman Seating. I want to thank all of them for hosting us today. This is a beautiful facility. I got to see some of the new machines that have been invested in. I got to see the workers working hard to make those machines and the products, more. They're more productive using the machines that they've got. They are dedicated in part because they love this company and the products that it produces. Friedman has been a part of the Chicago manufacturing and business landscape for 130 years. And it is a testament to what began with Hyman Friedman and the idea of making cushions for a product that doesn't exist anymore, right? Or at least not very many of them, horse-drawn buggies. And for a company to go through the kind of transformation that this one has over those many years, to survive through a lot of hard work and dedication, and it just, it's an amazing thing to see. And it's become a manufacturing powerhouse that's known the world over. This company is selling to folks far-flung, and we are very proud that the company continues to build this business right here in the state of Illinois. Its success is a testament to this multi-generational family business and its commitment, its ethos of putting customers first, and very importantly, to the hard work and dedication of generations of these Friedman employees. Friedman embodies so much of what makes Illinois great, too. Resilience, passion, innovation. Through all the challenges and the opportunities of the past century, this company and our state have made progress together, overcoming those challenges and taking advantage of those opportunities. We're here today to celebrate and to build on that legacy, supported by the state's EDGE incentive program. Friedman will invest $4 million, has invested $4 million into equipment and building renovation that will improve their nearly 100-year-old plant. These are the types of projects that can scale up production and maximize growth potential, and in doing so, Friedman will support nearly 700 jobs that are already here and add 50 more jobs. Friedman could have grown almost anywhere else in the country, including at their facility in Indiana, but they chose Illinois, and we are very proud to be their corporate home. I want to take a moment to thank everyone who works here at Friedman Seating, and especially CEO Craig Friedman, who I had the pleasure of meeting in a couple of previous events. I know you're doubling down on your strong commitment to Illinois, and of course I'm really grateful to the employees who are part of your dedicated workforce, but importantly are very loyal to this family. Supporting and assisting our Illinois companies as they grow takes dedication, it takes diligence from a whole lot of folks in government too. So I want to thank just a few people, our Department of Commerce Director, Kristen Richards, and of course her staff, Illinois Manufacturing Association CEO Mark Denzler and his staff, and the elected officials without whom we really can't do any of this work. They're the ones who go in and raise their hand to vote in support of programs like this, to help people find the places in Illinois where they can plant themselves and be here for 100+ years as a company. So want to recognize Alderwoman Emma Mitz and Senator Lakeisha Collins. I'll just say about, because I get to work with her regularly, Senator Collins, the General Assembly in Illinois and I have worked together, partnered to build on the incentives that are available to companies to come to Illinois or to choose to grow in Illinois. And that's something relatively new. Our economic development efforts in this state really were lacking before I took office. And when I took office, I thought, well, they must be buried in some part of the administration, some part of the executive branch, and they weren't. They really weren't operable at all, and we didn't have the right kinds of incentives. And so we've listened to companies in Illinois, we've listened to companies who are looking at other states, and today we're on the radar for so many of them, and I'm very proud of that fact. But today, right now, we are facing a potential obstacle with a trade war that the Trump administration seems intent on starting, because affordability and jobs are potentially the victims of that trade war. Tariffs are a tax paid for by consumers in the end. It's a tax on working families and on small businesses. Canada and Mexico are Illinois' top 2 trading partners. Let me be clear, that's a lot of business that creates jobs for people in our state. We want to trade, we want to sell into those countries, and we need the input products that come from those countries to make sure we can produce in a manufacturing setting like this one. And the aim of this trade war, this focus on tariffs from the federal government, seems to be to raise taxes on small businesses and working families to pay for really a massive tax cut for the wealthiest people and wealthiest businesses. It's bad for Illinois. It's bad for the country. It's detrimental for a company like Friedman Seating, which can only acquire certain of its parts that it has as inputs from Mexico, and it sells its products into Canada. And so I want Friedman and all of our Illinois businesses to thrive, and that's why I'm doing everything I can to oppose these tariffs and to reduce their negative impact. We're on our way here in Illinois to becoming one of the best states in the country to do business in. We have work to do always, but we have improved mightily over the last few years. For 130 years, Friedman has believed in the endless potential of Illinois and its people, through good times and through bad times. Friedman has understood that there's really no better place to find ingenuity and tenacity and grit over the long haul. And that is the focus of companies like this, to make themselves more innovative, to build their businesses up, to hire more employees, to grow. And we want to be part of that, and we want them to invest in the state of Illinois. So that is why we're working hard, and I put out some statements yesterday. I hope people will follow about the work that we're doing, talking to the governments of Canada and Mexico, and making sure that we're communicating in Washington about reducing this threat of a tariff war, a trade war, and making sure that we're preserving jobs and businesses in the state of Illinois. So with that, it is my great pleasure to hand this podium over to a real champion for Illinois businesses and jobs, and that's our DCEO director, Kristen Richards. Kristen.
There you go. Hey, okay. Good morning. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, for the introduction. My name is Kristen Richards, and I am the director of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, or DCEO. I'm happy to be here today to celebrate the Friedman Seating Company's $4 million investment to support the renovation of this historic facility. I want to thank Governor Pritzker, Senator Collins, and her colleagues within the Illinois General Assembly for continuing to give DCEO access to the incentives and resources we need to make announcements like the one today possible. Through programs like the EDGE Tax Program, DCEO has been able to ensure legacy Illinois companies like this one have access to resources and comprehensive services, all while bolstering economic growth and creating good-paying jobs for Illinoisans. DCEO is very proud to put our incentive tools to work to support this expansion project that will retain more than 670 jobs and create 50 new full-time positions. The EDGE incentive program has been in place for decades, but under Governor Pritzker's leadership, DCEO has modernized state incentives and made them even more impactful. Just last year, companies in the EDGE program committed nearly $650 million in investments across Illinois. And we are making these changes due in no small part to the very intentional approach we are taking to working with Illinois companies and those that represent them. Mark Denzler is here today from the Illinois Manufacturers Association, and he is one of those people. I want to thank you for being a very steadfast member of Team Illinois. I also want to thank my colleagues at the department, especially Cicella Smith, for her spectacular service that she provided to Friedman Seating in order to secure this investment. Projects like this one will allow us to continue building on the $1 trillion success story that is reflected across Illinois' economy. Thank you, and with that, it is my honor to introduce Senator Collins.
Good morning. I am State Senator Lakeisha Collins of the 5th Senate District, which Friedman Seating sits in the 5th Senate District in the Austin community. I want to say thank you to our governor, Governor J.B. Pritzker, for your hard work and your great leadership. It is an honor to work alongside a governor who understands the needs of the people here in the state of Illinois. And also thank you to Director Richards for your hard work and your team in making this possible today, and Mark Densler from IMA. And a special thank you to the Freeman brothers for continuing your grandfather's legacy and investing here on the west side of Chicago. This is truly an investment. I mean, the expansion, the retaining of jobs, and creating new jobs for families here on the west side is so important. The essential work that you are doing to create the products that you produce from this company is so important to Illinoisans and Chicago. And so I just wanted to say that I am extremely proud of what we're doing here at the state of Illinois and the partnership that we have, especially with my Alderwoman, Alderwoman Mitz, and her outstanding leadership here on the west side of Chicago. I just wanted to hand this over to the incredible Alderwoman of the 37th Ward, but this is truly an investment, and thank you so much for you all. 130 years, that is legacy, and that is a real investment. We're talking about jobs, we're talking about expanding, we're talking about bringing more revenue back to the state of Illinois. So thank you, and I'll hand it over to Alderwoman Mitz.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. My name is Emma Mitz. I am the Alderman of the 37th Ward, 25 years plus. And I'll tell you, yeah, Gene, it was my first opportunity to come in, for Gene to come in and Craig, talking about an expansion and coming to the 37th Ward. And yeah, I was on the phone. Didn't know if I was going to get nothing happen, but Lord and behold, he works in my favor. That's why I'm still here, you all. And through that, it's been some trials and tribulation, but for the most part, I've seen this company grow, just continuing to grow, even during the pandemic. We started out roughly at 900 employees at one time, but I see us moving the way back up with the 676, adding 50 more new jobs. Can't be nothing but another blessing. So business in the 37th Ward, we're open for business. We're open for the community to grow. We're open for people to be able to work in the place where they live at. I've seen the company work with young people. I mean, if you want to talk about teaching them about manufacturing, while our business was leaving, Craig, thank you all and the company for staying. And I have to say, and they probably don't want me to, but when I walked in the building and knowing that we lost Jerry, who is the father of these three brothers, who's not here, dedicated his life to the company, I see that they're carrying on the legacy in the way that he would be looking very proud today. And working with Safer Foundation, working with Austin Coming Together, working with the schools and businesses in the community and building bridges, and as they're expanding, and we just passed the 6B out of the city council, looking to help to build and create more jobs for the neighborhood. And I just think Governor Pritzker, thank you for your leadership and acknowledging this company and the hard work they're doing. This is what make America great. This is what make us thrive. Now, don't take my term and use and say greatness for what, you know, the other guys say. But it's great because great is great. And this is what we call great. Thank you, Darnell. I see you over there, Austin Coming Together. Yeah, they are in the room, partnering with us to help bring more people into the business, get them trained, get them knowledgeable about working in the community, and bringing manufacturing back to not only the ward, but to the city, to the state, and to the United States. Our job shouldn't be, as the governor stated, overseas or somewhere else. We can do the work here. we're hard workers and great workers who want to learn. So I'm grateful to be able to stand here today and welcome you all to the 37th Ward as well. Thank you so much. God bless all of you. Thank you. Next, I'll bring up Mark Denzer, if you would come up next.
Well, good morning. I'm Mark Denzer, President and CEO of the Illinois Manufacturers Association. As I like to say, every day should be Manufacturing Day in Illinois, in America, where we honor and celebrate amazing and innovative companies like Friedman Seating. And Illinois manufacturers today employ about 650,000 workers directly that contribute the single largest share of our state's economy. And I'm thrilled to be here today at Friedman Seating with Governor Pritzker, who's been a champion, Kristen Richards and the team at DCEO, Senator Collins, Alder Mitz, but especially Craig and the Friedman family and all the employees that are here today. They are truly a best-in-class manufacturer, you heard. They're an amazing family-owned manufacturer, and you've heard other folks say they've been operating in Chicago since the 1893 World's Fair. Think about what they've seen and what they've done since 1893. They've been employing Illinoisans in good, high-paying jobs with benefits. Today, there are 700 families in this area supported by Friedman Seating. They put food on the table, allow them to go on vacation or buy a vehicle because of the work that's done here at Friedman Seating. But importantly, Craig doesn't just employ people in the Friedman team. They engage and they lend their voice. You've heard about it. Craig's involved in workforce. Craig's been in meetings about immigration and how we can make sure that those individuals have jobs. BIP and other measures facing manufacturers, Craig adds his voice to those importantly. And today's announcement by Governor Pritzker will allow Friedman Seating to modernize their operations, which are based in this historic building you've heard. This is Motorola's first manufacturing plant and headquarters, built, as Craig said, in 1937. And Illinois is investing in Friedman and our state's manufacturing sector, ensuring that they continue to provide good, high-paying manufacturing jobs here on the west side of Chicago. The governor, as he mentioned and Kristen mentioned, have created this great toolkit in Illinois with the Edge Credit and RevEdge and MicroAct to really modernize the state's incentive structure. And when you combine the incentives with the wonderful assets that we have here, our workforce is second to none. The central location, the global city, the global airport, access to water, energy, transportation means Illinois will continue to be a manufacturing powerhouse. Today's announcement and investment is yet another signal that Illinois is open for business, and much of that is due to Governor Pritzker, and it's my honor to bring him back up to the podium.
Thanks. Happy to take any questions from members of the media. Yes, Shia. I think it's a massive effort to distract from what they are doing across the country to take away things that working class, middle class people, families, the most vulnerable really need. Maybe they, as they come and try to attack the state of Illinois, and that's what they're doing, the lawsuits are against laws on the books in Illinois. I mean, unlike Donald Trump, we follow the law in Illinois. Now, maybe they put up with this kind of garbage in Florida, which is the home state of the head of the DOJ. But in Illinois, we have grit, we are tough, we are strong, and Donald Trump has no idea what he's up against when he attacks Illinois. So we're here, we're gonna stay here, we're gonna keep fighting for lowering costs on people, on building up jobs, on holding back the tariffs, whatever we can do to make this a great state, we're going to continue to do despite what they may be doing to attack, again, working families across our state.
At the same time, Governor, you're going to perhaps see cuts to funding, and maybe it'll end up in the courts, but you might get a short-term impact of keeping those funds away from the state.
Yeah, they can break the law, that's true, but that won't last. At least not in this country. If you follow the Constitution, if you follow the law, it won't last. And by the way, they've been sued, 4, 5, 6 times over the last 10, 14 days, and they've lost every one of them that's been decided so far. So yeah, again, the announcement that was made was temporary pause on funding, but think about what they're pausing funding about. They're the very things that keep our state and our city safe, right? They want to take away and pause funding for programs that allow our law enforcement and federal law enforcement to work together to fight crime, to attack the drug cartels, to go after the gangs on our streets. That's what they're going after. And this is a party that claims that they're supporters of law enforcement, but not when you're taking money away from them. And I should also point out that when you've pardoned a bunch of January 6th perpetrators who attacked police, that's not making anybody safer in the state of Illinois. When you are firing thousands of FBI agents, when you're shutting down the CIA, getting rid of, frankly, people who are trying to keep our country safe, that's not making anybody safer in Illinois or across the country. So that is what they're doing. We're gonna fight like hell for the safety and security of people in Illinois. They're gonna lose if they try to pause this funding for any longer than a few days. And of course, we have some of the great lawyers, including our Attorney General, who's out there in the courts making those cases.
Governor, we spent the afternoon with the Winnebago County Sheriff, who said he believes the Trust Act is prohibiting his officers and deputies from protecting the community. I'm wondering if you should be listening to law enforcement officials like that, or perhaps considering any amendments to the way the law is currently written.
The Safety Act has made people safer in the state of Illinois. We are making sure that violent criminals in Illinois are kept off the streets when they are arrested. That is what the Safety Act does. It does not hold people who are committing minor offenses because of they don't have $100 or $200 for bail. The Safety Act is making people safer. I understand that law enforcement, like a sheriff in Winnebago County, is politically opposed to keeping people safer because he thinks that's good politics in his area. But I can tell you that we've already seen the Safety Act working. It's been in effect for a year and a half now. And we've seen that there are no greater number of people who are being let out on the streets or committing any crimes or not showing up at their court dates than before the Safety Act was put in place. But you know what is happening? Poor people who get accused of something aren't being held in jail when it's a minor offense, and they are able to go to work and earn money and show up at their court date to face justice if that's what's necessary. Yeah.
I know you said that you have not received communication from the Trump administration, and then they just filed this lawsuit. Was there any kind of warning or other communication, or is this now the only communication that they have with the administration?
There was no warning about this lawsuit, if that's your question. No warning at all. It just was announced. Literally we saw it on television, or somebody saw it on television after they announced it, and that's how we found out about it. So yeah, it's a strange thing. This administration is opaque, not transparent at all. They apparently are going after things that are, again, distracting from the big question, right, which is, are they taking away Medicaid from people all across the state of Illinois? 1 million people are going to lose medical care because of what they're threatening to do. That's just Medicaid. Meals on Wheels. Do we all know somebody who accepts meals delivered to their home when they're elderly because they can't go out in the cold, for example? What about Head Start, which I should point out was founded by a University of Illinois graduate, and is very important for families all across the state of Illinois. They want to take that away. Those are the things they want to distract you from, that they're taking away the things that working families really rely on in the state of Illinois, and they want you to pay attention to a bunch of lawsuits that are about something that frankly is unlawful. They're doing something unlawful. They want to cause the delay in the courts. So far, thank goodness, the judiciary has reacted appropriately, which is, hey, that's unlawful, that's unconstitutional. You can't effectuate that, Donald Trump, and so we're going to bar you from doing it.
Governor.
Yes, sir.
From the Voice newspapers. You said you've been talking with Canada and Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
What precisely can the state do to promote trade when the federal tariffs are being put in place?
Thank you for asking the question. Let me again remind everybody that Canada is our #1 trading partner. Mexico is our #2 trading partner here in the state of Illinois. China is #4, but we'll put them aside just for a moment. Those two are, #1, I've done a trade mission, gone with my team to Canada to promote trade for our companies and making sure that we have good relations with their companies. Because as I mentioned about Friedman Seating, some of the things that are inputs to what they manufacture here come from one country and they're selling into another of those countries. So what can we do in the state of Illinois? Obviously, federal tariffs are decided upon at the federal government level. The president only has the right to do that if he declares an emergency, which he has. And what's the emergency that he's declared? Let's talk about fentanyl, right? Which is an urgent crisis. But with regard to Canada, 1% of all the fentanyl that ends up in the United States is coming from the northern border from Canada, 1%. That's the emergency he's going after. Immigration is the second of the two emergencies that he has declared in order to put these tariffs on. Immigration. That is not a problem from Canada. I don't know if anybody's noticed this. The influx of Canadians is overwhelming. So this is, what can we do? We can talk to the Canadian representatives. In my case, I spoke with the ambassador, the Canadian ambassador to the United States. I spoke with the ambassador, the consul general and ambassador from Mexico. And I have already conveyed to them that we do not want these tariffs put on, and that I'd like to make sure that they know if they, 30 days, 25 days from now, if the tariffs are put on from the United States and there is retaliation, that they don't retaliate against products that are inputs and important to the companies in the state of Illinois. So it's important to convey what companies and what products we produce and have here in the state of Illinois to those countries, and are asking them not to make that part of the list of things that they are going to retaliate against when the trade war begins, if it does. I believe so. I mean, they've been very receptive to my phone calls, which is great. And I started, by the way, by calling U.S. ambassadors to Canada, who have a great deal of knowledge of, how do we get this done. And as you may know, 2 of the last 3 ambassadors to Canada are from Chicago. I spoke with one who's from Philadelphia and one from Chicago. And so we're doing a lot of work to try to convey and making sure that everybody understands Illinois is a friend of Canada's, and that we want to continue to do a lot of business with them. And Mexico, I should add. I don't want to leave them out, but it happens that I spoke first with the Canadian ambassadors and then with the ambassador from Mexico. Yes. Hi, Olivia.
So Google this week announced that they're rolling back their DEI efforts. Does that raise any red or yellow flags for you, given the expansion of Google into the Thompson Center rebuild and their work in Chicago?
I don't know yet, because we don't know what the impact of what you're describing as the rollback of DEI. Let me just be clear. When they say DEI, it isn't like, oh, well, that's an obvious department that we're going to get rid of, or a program that we're going to get rid of. The question is, do you want a diverse workforce? Does it matter to you that you have people in your marketing department who know how to market to different ethnic communities, for example? Does that matter to you? Of course it matters to companies, and they're going to continue to do that, right? They want to make sure that if you're addressing Latino community, the Black community, Polish community, that you understand those communities and that you have people working in those departments that can help you effectuate that. That's just one example of diversity matters in building your business. And then, when you say DEI, what they seem to be saying at the Trump administration is what they're really doing is attacking civil rights. That is what the attack on DEI is all about. Because DEI is not some official term that describes what goes on at a company. It's just a broad term that we, all use to describe, wanting to have a workforce that is representative perhaps of your community or representative of the interests of the company. So I don't yet know, but I certainly want the companies across the United States that are looking at these things to recognize that when Costco pushed back, their sales went up. When companies like Target pushed back, their sales went and they didn't push back, sorry. When they accepted the DEI, mandate to get rid of it. They got rid of it, and guess what? Their sales went down. Pay attention to that fact, because I think the people of the United States understand that diversity in the workforce, diversity of representation across the big companies of our country is important for our collective future. Thanks, everybody. Yep, thank you.
Here. And let's look over here. All right, that's great. You guys think.
By the way, this is really cool. They made this on the machines that they bought to expand this business, right? So I don't know if you see it, they've got Edge on one of the corners of it. Which one, the Edge?
Can we see that? You guys? Can we see the governor showing that to us, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys, please.